Everyone experiences self-doubt from time to time, but what happens when a lack of confidence becomes crippling? After all, silencing your inner critic can be tough, just like Renee Zellweger in the film Bridget Jones's Diary.
And I think Lara and, I don't know, being American or something to do with confidence, and well, we've become very close.
Well, you've only just met her. She flew in yesterday. Oh. Silly Bridget.
So is self-doubt sabotaging your success, and how can you navigate your way from fearful to courageous? For more, we are joined by life coach and author Dain Heer. Dain, lovely to have you with us. Where does self-doubt come from? Is it something that we kind of bring on ourselves, or is it really just us reflecting what other people think of us?
The answer to that is yes. You know, I think it actually comes from when we're little kids. You know, we come into this world wide-eyed and looking for, and what we're taught is that we have to start judging. You know, we learn to judge what's right and wrong, and I think for some of the people in the world, that becomes such an obsession because they never feel like they get it right. So they're in this constant state of doubt, hoping to someday get it right, but feeling like they don't.
Are certain people more susceptible to being critical of themselves?
I would say there's two sorts of people, and one are the people who have sort of the thin skin, sort of the sensitive people of the world. You know, they don't have that thick skin between them and the rest of the world and what the world is thinking. And then there are the other side where it's the perfectionists, the people that try to do everything right and have such a standard of perfection that nobody could ever attain, that stay in a constant state of judgment as though that's going to help them.
So you talk about perfectionists and people who really want everything to be, I guess, have very high standards. Does that make those people much tougher on themselves?
Yeah, I would say so.
Right.
And it's a sadness, because if they would just get out of judgment of themselves, then they would actually start to create what they were trying to create through the judgment.
How do you get out of judgment of yourself? If that's the kind of person that you are, if you're kind of tough on yourself, what should you do?
Well, a couple of things. There are a few tools, a few things that you can do. First thing is you want to start asking questions. See, a question always empowers, an answer disempowers. So one of the questions that you can ask that actually starts opening this up is, what's right about me that I'm not getting? That does two things. It takes that monkey that's pounding on your head and stops it for a moment, so it's a pattern interrupt. But then the other thing that it does is it starts getting you to look at what's right about you that you haven't been willing to see before, which also starts to stop that judgment cycle over the long term.
What about the people you surround yourself with? Everybody always says, you know, surround yourself with positive people.
Right. And I think that's actually a really good choice. Surround yourself with happy people, but also surround yourself with people who aren't doing judgment of you or anybody else. And what happens is when you're not around people who are doing judgment, there's less judgment in your head, then you actually have a chance to be happy and get over this critic that you've been enforcing on yourself.
I dig that one.
Yeah. What about the gym? How does that help?
Well, it's interesting, because getting your body moving is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Because what happens is when you start getting your body moving, hitting the gym, running, swimming, anything like that, number one, you get endorphins flowing. Number two, you also get the lymph flowing. And what science tells us is if we get those two things going, we've got more energy. And this energy state that we get, you know, when we do the gym thing, actually is a counter to the depression that we usually experience with the self-criticism.
Okay.
Makes you sleep better at night too.
That too.
You know, if you're knackered.
Exactly.
Tired in Australian terms.
Thank you. Thanks for the translation.
Finally, appreciation can go a long way, can't it?
Absolutely. And so one of the things I suggest to people is, you know, start a gratitude journal. And as you know, people have done that, suggested that around the world, and the reason is because it actually works. So you want to look for one thing you can be grateful for about yourself every single day, and then when you're having one of those bad days, go back and look at that, and it pulls you a lot of times out of the depression, out of the criticism. And one other thing you want to do is you want to think of somebody in your life that has no judgment of you, doesn't think you should be any different than you are right now. Look at you through their eyes. See what they see in you that you're not willing to. And oftentimes that also can pull you out of that cycle.
So
Great
true.
advice.
Well,
Nice one, Dain. Good to talk to you, mate.
Thank you both.
If you would like to hear more from Dain, you can see him live next month. Just head over to the Daily Edition website for all the details.